she's so fine. Helluva, blows my mind. Helluva, lights my day.
What's good, guys? It is bright and early on Wednesday, October the 12th, 2022. This video, as you can tell, will be regarding the Kenneka Jenkins case. And specifically, it's one of the more rare videos that I do, which is basically insert my opinion and what I believe. I don't usually do those because I don't try to force anything down anyone's throat over here on my channel. I just give you what I got and let you make your own conclusion from that. But this time I wanted to share some information with you guys. So when this case happened, September the 9th, 2017, when Kenneka Jenkins went to the party at the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare. She went missing, was subsequently found in the walk-in freezer at the hotel on September the 10th, 2017. I want to share one quick article with you guys that kind of sums up what I'm trying to get at in regards to the footage, the surveillance footage. Rosemont case, a focus for community distrust of police. Demonstrators allege cops altered video evidence. Video released by Rosemont police seemed to solve at least part of the Kenneka Jenkins mystery. Their surveillance recordings depict Kenneka Jenkins, 19, staggering alone through a kitchen of the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel and around a corner where a walk-in freezer is located. Though the camera doesn't capture her entering the freezer, no one else appears in that part of the room until a hotel worker finds her body 21 hours later. Convincing proof Jenkins did not meet with foul play? Far from it, according to many engrossed by the case. "Look right there in that doorway," a woman shouted on YouTube, pointing to a shadowy corner of a hallway. "That's somebody right there." "I think someone was with her," an observer wrote in a 34,000-member Facebook group dedicated to the case. "Maybe they knew where all the cameras were and avoided them. They could have been calling her name." "That was not Kenneka in that video," a Twitter user opined. "Clothes, hair, and weight don't match. Try again." From President Kennedy to Princess Diana, shocking deaths often generate theories that diverge sharply from the official stories. But the developing case of Kenneka Jenkins, which police have said is a death investigation, not a homicide probe, is spawning alternate explanations at a furious rate, many of which exhibit deep skepticism that authorities are telling the truth. They had time to edit and remove and add anything they wanted to that video, said Latyra Goodman, a Chicagoan who was among dozens of protesters outside the hotel Monday night. "There's been a video online that shows how you can edit videos and remove a person from them. We've seen this with our own eyes. Why trust the Rosemont police?" Detective Joe Below, spokesperson for the department, said police have released all the video they have, 36 hours in total, and they have not altered any of it. "Everything we have put out has been the original," he said. But this hasn't eased suspicions online and among protesters who have converged on the hotel on a near nightly basis, stirred by the strange circumstances of the death and Martin's complaints about the initial response from hotel staff and police. Monday night, some in the crowd of about 50 held signs accusing the hotel of a cover-up and chanted for authorities to release the real tape. "All they got to do is just give Martin that tape so she can have justice for her baby," said Charles Harris, a Chicagoan who was among the demonstrators. "That's all they need to do. That's it. We wouldn't even be out here." Trust in law enforcement has long been unevenly shared. In the wake of well-publicized shootings of unarmed black men 2 years ago, only 52% of Americans expressed great confidence in the police, according to the Gallup polling organization, a record-tying low. It goes on to talk about the distrust of the police. When you get into specific incidents where there's a lot of uncertainty about what happened, you can see that lack of trust plays out. how people feel about the information that's being given out, that's a very immediate trust issue. And that's the truth. It goes on and says they're probably experiencing a sense that the Kenneka Jenkins demonstrators distrust police, period, he said. That is very difficult to address. And I think in some cases, local officials just have to ignore it. And I think in some cases, local officials just have to ignore it. All right. The gentleman that wrote the article wasn't who I had the problem with. It's the contributor, William Lee, and I'm going to save that for another day. When the police were called after that point, what they should have done, shoulda, coulda, woulda. What they should have done was collected all evidence that they could collect. Which, if you've been on this case for a while, you know that didn't happen. For the newer people on the case, it didn't happen, okay? They didn't turn that footage over for a good little while. So, given the fact that there's already a mistrust of the police, that's just period across the board, that really threw a lot of red flags, okay? It threw a lot of red flags for me, a lot of other people, and I know it was probably a couple of years ago now that we've done this. We did a GoFundMe, Amp Easy did a GoFundMe, and we all contributed, those that were interested, contributed to that GoFundMe to have the footage authenticated, okay? That's how serious we were about this footage, this surveillance footage. So, what they should have done, the police being they should have collected the hard drives, they should have collected it all. They didn't. So, what you have then is a lot of uncertainty. And when you have uncertainty in a case, it makes a lot of room for conspiracy theories. Okay? Now, I am one that believes that the footage has been tampered with. That's just my belief. I'm not saying you got to believe it. We can all agree to disagree. But that's just my personal belief. And fortunately on this channel, I've been blessed to have a bunch of adults who can agree to disagree. We don't sit over here and battle it out. So I am appreciative of that with you guys. But when you look at, and this was a pretty big rumor that was going around the rumor mill, that, not only a rumor, but it was a suspicion that because it took them so long to hand over this footage to the Rosemont Police Department, that something had been tampered with. Well, you have to look at it from a couple of different angles. Now, who tampered? Who would have had a reason to tamper with the footage? Crown Plaza would be number one, because this incident happened on their property. And you would also have to look at the Rosemont Police Department, because this is happening on their watch. They didn't search well enough. There's a lot of mistakes that they made that they would really like to crawl under a rock somewhere, to be honest. They made an embarrassing display of police protocol and procedure. But you have to look at who had a reason to edit this footage. Now, when you look at the Crown Plaza Chicago O'Hare, they hold a lot of weddings, banquets. So their banquet staff or salespeople would handle a lot of, say, videographers, DJs. They would have probably personal relationships with several of the local videographers, photographers, DJs, that sort of thing. But there's just one person that stood out to me. And It's just like this gut instinct, and I just can't let it go. And I wasn't the only person that saw this person. If I'm not mistaken, Humongous D also saw this person. And I'm not sure if he saw him first or if I saw him first, but he definitely was under both of our radars. Okay. So I'm going to show you who I believe, if you look at it, if one or the other, either one, would have wanted to tamper with his footage, they could have very easily have used this gentleman because he was on hand and probably had a working relationship with both parties, just to be honest about it. All right. So let's take a look at him. The gentleman's name is Edward Marshall. Okay. And I found him, just a few little tidbits on him on the Gov Salaries page. And it says in 2015 he was employed in the Village of Rosemont and had an annual salary of $85,000 according to public records. This salary is 47% higher than average and 65% higher than median salary in the Village of Rosemont. Now, I think that's very important, okay? This is from his LinkedIn page, and it says digital, interactive, and social media marketing at Village of Rosemont. House photographer for Allstate Arena and Rosemont Theater. All right. And I'm going to show you a better image of him. This is a good image of him. That is Mr. Edward Marshall. And this is something that he did to that photo of himself. Now, when I start going through his qualifications and his previous work history, I think things will start clicking for you guys, and you will kind of understand where I'm coming from and why I have looked at this gentleman, okay? His experience, and I'm going to work from present to current to oldest. Digital, interactive, and social media marketing, Village of Rosemont, from July of 2013 to present. Digital, interactive, social media, for Rosemont Theater and MB Financial Park. So he is digital, interactive, and social media marketing for the Allstate Arena, Rosemont Theater, and MB Financial Park. But he works for the Village of Rosemont. Okay? So he is an employee of the Village of Rosemont. Now, in 1999 to present, he is Information Technology, Illinois House Republican staff. So he has a political connection as well. Starting to click for you guys. Application development, freelance computer services, January of 1990 to August of 1999 for 9 years and 8 months. Layout and programming, Dewar Manufacturing, March of 1988 to March of 1990 for 2 years and 1 month. Layout and design of identification cards, programming of identification sequences, including barcoding with check digits, and encryption algorithms. Now, when we look at his education, it said he studied at Cornell University, Field Marine Sciences. At Columbia College of Chicago, he studied film. And at Northeastern Illinois University, he studied English literature. Now this part, if you didn't already get it or start to make the connection previously, this may do it for you. His skill set: JavaScript, graphic design, social media, blogging, public speaking, Ruby on Rails, MySQL, web development, Ruby, Drupal, PHP, Objective-C, CSS, WordPress, web design, HTML, project management, Photoshop, social networking, Linux or Linux, depends on where you're at, how that's pronounced, SEO, website development, WordPress again, programming, software development, web applications, and public relations. Now, that is an extensive, and I'm sure he's left off a multitude of skills. That is an extensive computer tech background, okay? So, editing software from a surveillance, I would say he's more than capable of doing that. Just based on his resume alone, okay? Highly educated. He certainly has done website development. That's absolutely nothing for him. He's very versed in many computer programs, including Photoshop. He has political connections, and he works in the Village of Rosemont. So, and this is just my opinion, guys. I'm not forcing it down your throat. But you have someone who works in the Village of Rosemont, where the Stevens family rules with an iron fist, who is also on the Illinois House Republican staff. So I'm sure that him, Edward Marshall, and the Stevens family are very friendly with one another, okay? And who would be the person, one of the people at least, that they would call, they being the Village of Rosemont, if they needed something? They're going to call Edward Marshall. He would be at least one person on their list. I guarantee you somebody's got him wrote down on a phone somewhere that says, hey, if you got any computer problems, call Ed. He's the guy. He's going to get you together. So you just, you got to look at it from their side. Now, was he their only person that did computers? No, he wasn't. But I will say this. He was one of the most well-qualified people that they have on staff. And so that's why he jumps out. Now, like I said, do they being the Crown Plaza, do they have multiple connections with videographers, photographers, that sort of thing? Absolutely. I'm sure their sales staff is very well acquainted with many different types of event people that come through, and they've probably developed personal relationships with them. But when it comes time to get something technical done, you're going to call somebody that knows what they're doing. And this guy, for a fact, Jack, knows what he's doing. I don't think we have to even think about that. So it's just how you look at it in your mind. And for me, I just know that his skill set is advanced enough, and he's been with the Village of Rosemont for, at that point, at least 4 years. I mean, he wasn't a new employee. He had been there for a pretty good rip, and they were probably very well familiar with him, and I would just say he would be one of the options. So I just wanted to share this with you guys because I think it's worth sharing. And I've spoke on this, it's been a very long time ago. And I haven't spoke on it in quite a while, but I still watch his work, and he does cover a lot of the concerts and other events that come through, like the All-State Arena and that sort of thing. But that's probably not what he does full time. I'm sure that keeps him busy, but it also is a perk because he gets to go and see all these shows and take pictures and be in the press area, etc. But I'm sure that he loves to get his hands dirty into tech stuff. So, again, this is just my opinion. And I wanted to put it out there for you guys so that you could at least think on it and come up with your own opinion. But I'm going to end the video on that note. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.